we have arrived to 180 participants who are interested to join us in this potato group, where we will try to do our level best to disseminate the information, the necessary information and knowledge that can help each one of us to optimize or maximize the production and the productivity of potatoes, and to get as much as money as he can from this crop. Potatoes here in Zambia, surprising, because me myself, I consider that Zambian people are very lucky. They have been given a lot of resources, and in fact, it is mainly for free: land and water and weather conditions. And what made me surprised is, at the end, I found those people, or my beloved Zambian people, they are suffering and they don't know what to do. Also, the money is there in the land, and they all actually what they need to do is to dig the soil and to get the money. So I imagine that after this presentation, I hope that every one of us will be able to dig the soil and to get the money that God or Allah has given us, and it is for free. You can say between brackets, of course, you have to pay something in contrast, but at the end, the net profit will be very good for each one of us. Potatoes, or what's so the common between the people, they call it Irish potatoes, while it is in the classification, it is potatoes. My presentation today will not be academic presentation, but it will be a practical one, because I do believe that the only way for learning is learning by practice. Academic can be for students, yes, no problem. Every one of us later on, he needs to know more information about his crop so that he can maximize the productivity and the net profit. I am Professor Dr. Rida. I'm the project manager of Zambia, Egypt, the joint farm in Mombeshi, as well as the farm in Kabwe. And we have practiced planting the potatoes in our farm. It was last season, I planted 10 hectares, where I made some experiments to test the soil condition and the weather conditions, and to see which conditions will be favorable and good to for me to get the maximum production and consequently the maximum profit. The first question that can be asked actually for every one of us: if I plant potatoes, is there a market demand for potatoes? This is a good question, and this question, in fact, every and each one of us, especially in Zambia, they know exactly that the market is there and the market demand is high. Also, we are producing, we started to produce here, and of course, all of you knows about the major investor working on that field, Boyabamba also. And also we are trying to do like this, but still a big gap is in the market here. And that's why you as Zambia, you import potatoes from South Africa and from other countries so that to satisfy the consumption. However, we need to, all of us, to start to produce potatoes, or what you call Irish potatoes. And this one, it's very easy and a very nice crop. So it's not difficult crop that you when you see I will produce, I wanted to produce. Is it difficult? It will I will make it good or no, the management, the fertilizer, the pesticides, what. But it's very easy and a crop to produce very fast. It's 3 months, up to 100, maximum 120 days, depend on the variety that you are planting. And I will show you the results that I came out through 1 year of experiments and also commercial production, so that you don't repeat the challenge that we have faced, and you maximize your benefits. Well, the scientific name is Solanum, but it's okay. It's potatoes. For us, let's make it potatoes. I will not go for this Latin name. For this introduction, like I was saying in the beginning, you have a treasure between your hands and under your feet. It's a lot of money. Look at this table that I summarized here, and this is actual. This is actual data from the ground here, which means that it is not too much, it is not less, but this is the minimum. It's actual data, this is the minimum. So you have seen the items on that column: seeds and herbicides, fungicides, biofertilizer, insecticides, chemical fertilizer, the K-foliar fertilizer, and the drip irrigation. And then those are the items, the main items that you will need to know some information about that, about those items. Can you see, as you can see, the maximum cost here is related with the seeds. But the other items are not that much. You will see also that one drip irrigation, which is in red. This is for hectare. And I just wanted to give your attention that the drip irrigation is not a running capital, but it is a fixed capital, which if you have already an irrigation system, meaning this cost in red, which is 40,000 kwacha, the Zambian currency. And sorry, I have forgotten to welcome the other people from different countries that they are joining us from Egypt, from UK, and from other countries. So that number here, that cost here in red, which is 40,000, it is for an installation, the drip irrigation system for 1 hectare, and it is a fixed. It is a fixed capital. Of course, this including everything, even the tank and so. But if you have already set your irrigation system, meaning this cost will be profit down. So out of 1 hectare planting potatoes, you can get a profit, a minimum profit, a minimum, I'm saying again, a minimum profit, 47,000 kwacha, which is almost $2,000, American dollar. And this is the minimum, because if you look here to the income, I mentioned that the yield per hectare is 12 ton, where with the professionals you can get, and with the new techniques that we will introduce later, you can get up to 50 ton per hectare. So you can imagine how you will multiply your net profit when you start being a professional. I assume that out of those 180 participants or interested in our group, we have asked Ms. Linda kindly to make a form, and there are some questions that we will need you to answer on. Out of those forms or answers, we will organize. We will understand that, or will classify if you are a small farmer, if you are medium farmer, if you are large farmer. so that we can address the necessary information and the practice for the small one, how to maximize his profitability, the medium and the large ones. However, even for those who doesn't have land and he has only his home garden, or even if he has no home garden, if he has his balcony, I can tell him how, and we will, inshallah, we will share, God willing, we will share this information and knowledge to show you that you can plant potatoes even in your balcony and you still will get an income, or at least to satisfy your family with the potato production. And you will not be able to, you will not buy it from outside. So we will come back again to this table and this data whenever, of course, will be a question or when we go into more details. Potato plant, you know, it's I'm sure that every one of you has seen the potato plant. This photo here will show you the potato plant. The next slide, please. Yes. You see the tubers, the main tubers that you see in the middle. This is the mother, this is the seed that we plant, and the stem, and then it's ended by flower and the seeds. Because again, I just wanted to give your attention that when I say seeds, it is common, we say seeds for the tubers. But for potatoes also, potatoes produce flowers and the seeds. That small seeds, other seeds, it's not the tubers. But anyway, for us, what is important here under Zambia weather conditions and the climatic conditions is the tubers. So let's agree from now that when we say seeds, we mean the tubers, okay? So you see the main tuber that directly connected to the stem. This is the mother seed, which we have planted. Then under this seed or this tuber, you will never find any production of potato, but you will find the production is coming from the upper part of the stem on top of this mother seed. And then you will notice also that there is a white part of the stem and the other one is green. This white part is the one underground, meaning is the one which is covered with the soil. That's why it is white. There is no chlorophyll in that part of the stem. And this is the one that we need to make it long as we can, because as long as you make this white stem, as much as you duplicate or multiplicate your production. I will explain this later. And then the green one. You see there is a line which is dots. This is supposed to be the soil service. And we will come to this later when we see when we speak about the land preparation, how to make the ridges and how to plant the potatoes. Of course, the leaves, every one of us knows the leaves, and the flowers is clear, and those seeds on top. Now the weather conditions. All of us know in Zambia we have the summer season and we have the winter season. The summer season where the rain-fed season is, and it is not advisable to plant potatoes during this season because of the rains. Because if you plant your potatoes in this season, meaning your potato will be rotted after exposing to the okay. Do you hear me now?
Yes, that's better, Professor. Thank you so much.
Okay, sorry. Okay. So what I was saying is in the summer season, we don't advise you to plant potatoes because we have tried. I'm saying this because we have tried to plant in every month in Zambia. So we have come out with this result that if we planted during the summer season, during the rain-fed season, this will expose our potatoes to be rotted because of the heavy rains. So you can see that the temperature for vegetative growth is 24 centigrade, and the tuber initiation or started to develop when it is 20. In short, they cool and moderate, and even when it is a little bit more cold, is better for the tuber initiation and the tuber development, which we can say in winter season. For those who are from Egypt, winter season and the summer season are the opposite in Egypt. So here in Zambia, the winter season starts in April, end of March, April, May, and but the winter season is in opposite than the one in Egypt. So please don't mix. Now for the soil. If you have a sandy soil, this is the best one. You will get a very big tubers, a clean tubers, and a very high production. If you have well-drained soil, also you still will have a good production. The soil pH is about 6 to 6.5, but it can also grow in the soil pH 5, which means that most of the Zambian land can be planted. The majority of the Zambian land can be planted. So you have no excuse, my friends, to plant the potatoes and to get the money that you deserve. Potatoes, there are hundreds of varieties of potatoes, and those varieties, they vary from one to the other because of the some varieties, for example, can be processed. Some can be consumed fresh, and also different colors and different sizes, and of course they are varying in the starch percentage, the dry matter percentage. In short, there are so many varieties that can be planted here in Zambia and in other countries, based also on the climatic conditions and the weather conditions. However, I will go straight forward to the varieties that we have tested. We have tested 2 or 3 varieties, and we come out with one good variety that I already planted last season. I got a good production, and then we are gonna to plant it also this season while we are preparing the land right now. This variety called Mondial. And why I'm choosing this variety of Mondial, as you see the characteristics, it is or it can be used as a fresh market, of course, and the maturity is medium to late. It takes 90 days from sowing the seed until harvesting. So you harvest after the 90 days, and of course the yield is very high yield. Is very high yield. This is one of the varieties that I was saying with the professionals, you can get up to 50, 60 ton per hectare. But with beginners like most of us here, you can get the minimum 10 ton per hectare if you will follow the small knowledge that we will share together now here. Then the shape of the tuber, of course, it is long over, and the skin color is cream, and the flesh color also is creamy, and the size is big size tubers. We have got like 30 centimeter height, and I will show you. And the dry matter is 19%. Of course, it is also resistant for the scab diseases that attack most of the varieties. I forgot to tell you also that the varieties are very for the resistance of and the sensitivity of the infection with diseases, especially the fungal diseases. However, this for storability also it has a good storability. Now, let's assume that you have decided. I have convinced you. I have motivated you now to start thinking how to that you will need to go on with planting your potatoes. Then you need to make what's so-called seed preparation. What is seed preparation? We have agreed in the beginning that we will the terminology seed. We are calling it for the tubers. Okay, forget about the other seeds that is produced in other countries, the cold countries like Netherlands and so on. But we are now focusing on the seeds, which means the tubers. If you have enough quantity of seeds, which is usually we buy the seeds, the tubers, and the tubers vary: small size, medium size, and big size. This tuber that you see for the potatoes, it is not a root. No, this tuber is a stem. Why I am saying it is a stem? Botanically, it is classified as a stem. Why? Because you will notice on each tuber there are some buds, or we call it eyes. You can find many eyes or many buds on that tuber. That's why it is a stem, but it is modified to be underground, to store the carbohydrates for the plant. As you know, all of us, you're supposed to know that the plant is producing the carbohydrates and the nutrients for himself, but we consume it as a human. So this stem, or which is the tuber now, has eyes or buds. So if the tuber is small, like the egg size, so this is the best. We advise you to plant this egg size potatoes as a seeds. Don't cut it. But if you have a medium size or big size, and you want to cut those seeds into pieces, with the condition that each piece has to have one eye at least, one eye or one bud at least. In this case, you can also plant those pieces of potatoes that you have cut after you make the treatment that we will talk about now. When do you cut the tubers, the seeds, and when you don't cut? You cut, as I said, one if you have a big size and you have not enough quantities of seeds. So in this case, you can cut and you can plant more seeds in the units of the area. Or if you have this big size, which is the best one, the best size, that's fine. You can see in this slide that I don't know if you can see, I'm still in the seed preparation slide.
Professor, we are on this seed sprouting. Should I go on to?
No, yeah, back for the seed preparation, the one, because
Okay,
I wanted
thank
to
you,
show.
sir.
Yes, this one. Yes, this one. Yeah, you can see to the left side those pieces of potatoes of the tubers. Each one has one eye, and this eye has been sprouted. So these pieces can be planted as a units, as a seeds, as a units. Okay. And we will talk later when you ask when we're supposed to cut, when we're supposed to plant the whole seeds. Now, for the seed sprouting, these potatoes, the Irish potatoes or the potatoes, needs you to make what's called sprouting. Sprouting, as you see in this photo, the next one. Yes, this one. Yeah, you see the buds or the eyes started to germinate, started to make a sprout. Okay. In this case, this is the best stage that you're supposed to plant your potatoes in this stage. And to do so, we will talk, of course, how to make sprouting now, the potatoes sprouting, because you're supposed not to plant potatoes before it is sprouted. Because if you have plant, you can plant. But if you plant before sprouting, it will take much time to germinate in your soil, meaning it can reach 1 month, 30 days. But if you make your seeds or potato seeds like this sprouted, then it can take from 8 days to 12 or 15 days maximum. So you see, it's 2 weeks difference between the sprouted one and the non-sprouted one. Next. Now, for seed sprouting, how to make your seed sprouting? Usually, we store the seeds on 2 to 4 centigrade. Then, for 3 months at least, because one of the information that you're supposed to know, every and each one of us, that the potatoes, we cannot plant the potatoes that we are producing right now. Is there something? Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Other people couldn't see the slides. Sorry, sir.
That's okay, no problem. That's okay. Now, what I was saying is that we cannot plant that potatoes that we are producing right now. If we are harvesting, we cannot plant these potatoes because potatoes has to go into a dormant period, which is almost around 3 months. It has to be stored in cold temperature, like from 2 to 4 centigrade for 3 months. Then after that, it can go out of this cold store, and then we can sprout the seeds. Then we plant. But again, we don't advise you to plant from your production because the seeds has to be certified, clear, and clean of the infected diseases, especially the fungal diseases and the virus diseases. So we advise to buy your seeds every season. That's why the potato seeds is the only one in the beginning of the table. If you remember, the main cost is for the potato seeds. But after that, of course, after you plant, you will get you will compensate this and you will get a good profit. Now, let's assume that you have bought your potato seeds, certified ones, and it comes in the cold store in the container, and it was stored on 4 degrees. Then you need to make a sprout. You take your potatoes out of the container, you spread your potatoes in a place which not directly exposed to the sunlight, and good ventilation, of course. Then you leave it for, of course, you make thin layer, meaning one tuber, and you leave it for 1 week or 2 weeks until you will see that the buds started to sprout. In this case, you will go to the next step, which you will start to make treatment for your seeds. Then you will plant your seeds. Now, please, the first is that the previous slide again. There is one important point that I wanted. How do you make potatoes, your potatoes sprout faster? That one which is written in red. There are some techniques, of course, apart from this, the temperature, like I explained for you. But also, if you are making putting your potato seeds in trays, you may also put onions in between or apple. Then you will have sprout potatoes faster. Your seed potatoes will sprout faster. This is some of the natural techniques that we use in case of the potato is late to sprout. And of course, the mode of action, those onions and the potato and apple, they release gases that make the potato sprout fast. Now, after your potatoes sprouted, now you need to make the treatment. Next slide. For the treatment, you may make it with two ways, either by dipping or spraying your potatoes before you plant. If you will bring a drum, which is 200 liter of water, and then you will put any type of fungicide. I will not say names now, but let's make it easier for everyone. Any type of fungicide you find in the market, or specialized for potatoes from whatever company. But us here in my farm, I'm dealing with one company that I'm satisfying with their product. So fungicide, you put in this drum, the 200 liter, then you dip your seeds and you take it out. Of course, your seeds will not be separate like that, but it will be in a bunches or a plastic or a bag, so that you will dip it with the bags, and then you will take it. You dry it a little bit, and not under the direct sun, but for, let's say, for half an hour or 1 hour maximum. Then you start the plant, or you prepare this fungicide in a sprayer machine, knapsack, or whatever type of spraying. Then you spray on your potato seeds before planting. It's advisable so that you can protect your potatoes, which you will bury into the soil, from the fungal diseases. Next. Okay, now we need to go for land preparation. I've heard that some of us who showed interest in potatoes, they said that they already made land preparation. Land preparation, actually, there are too many techniques, but the one we are seeing in the photo now is the one that if you make it like this, you will get the maximum production that I was telling you, 50 ton and 60 even ton per hectare. Because in this technique, we plant not one line, but 2 and 3 lines per ridge, as you see. And of course, this is mechanical. So you make this with machines, and also you harvest with machines. That's why I was asking if we will get this information for the area that you are targeting to plant this season. That's when we will know if you are a small farmer. Then we will show you the technique, the simple technique that you can make. If you are a large farmer, then will show you the modern techniques that you can use the machines to maximize your productivity, and of course the quality. Here, the next slide is one of the photos. Next, yes, this one. This land is our land here in Mombeshi in Zambia, Egypt, joint farm, and we are preparing this ridges by one of the machines that I have designed and I have made by myself here. So it is not impossible for every one of you to make his own machines if he has a good big land. So these techniques can make us to maximize our productivity. As you see, the width of the ridge is about 60 to 80 centimeter, and the height is 50 centimeter. And later, when someone will ask, maybe for the new techniques, because this presentations has so many items and the time is very limited. But in case if we will not be able to explain all the points at this time, we may make another part for the presentation. I'm trying to go faster for this slides so that I can show you what is the land preparation. Ridges, normal ridges also can work, and I will show you that the last season I have made only the normal ridges. Now this information is very important. The best planting period in Zambia here. And the next slide. Next slide, please. Yes, this one. This one, it's one. Yeah, no, the best planting period. Yes. This slide, you see it is one line, huh? But this one line, you don't know how much cost, time, efforts we have done to come out with this one line. Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words almost. But those 5 words, we have done a lot of production, planting, harvesting, challenges that we have faced a lot, so that we have come out now with those end of March, April, May, June, and July. Those are the suitable time or months that you can plant your Irish potatoes in, and you guarantee you will have a good production and high quality without any challenge. Of course, if you have your irrigation system, because you will notice that those are in the winter time. In the winter time, meaning the weather conditions is almost cold or cool. The temperature is favorable for either vegetables or vegetation or the tuber initiation or the tuber development. And of course, we don't have this challenge of heavy rains that can make our potatoes rotted or make our harvest difficult with machines or with hoist or whatever. So this one line, I tell you, this one line is the result that we have come out. Now, the next slide, you can see the right one, the right photo. You can see in that right photo, please, the previous one. The previous. Yes, the right photo here, you can see that ditcher. So you will make the ridge, the normal ridge, then in top of this ridge, you will make ditcher. And in this ditcher, you will put your potato seeds. The distance between the potato seeds will be 20, 25, up to 30, depend on the size of the tubers. Depend on the size of the tubers. You have seen different sizes of the tubers. I put 3 photos so that I can show you. Of course, the best one is that one on the left, the best size, that egg size. Here you can see the next slide. We have planted. While we were planting in at the end of last March, the Irish potatoes. You see, we were planting manual, and the ridges that you see here are very normal ridges. They are not those ridges that you can plant any type. Those ridges that you can plant any type of crop. So those are normal ridges that everyone can make, but we have done a ditcher on top of the ridges, and we have set the potato tubers seeds. Then after that we bury. You've seen. Next. You see that the ditcher on top of the ridge. And don't worry if the ridge is small like that, because later you will build the ridge. You will build the soil around both sides of the ridge again. Here you can see. Now the next slide. Yes, this slide now you can see that the ridge. No, the previous one. Is the previous one, Linda?
Yes, it's
Hello?
come back. Yes,
Huh?
I've put building
Yes,
ridges.
this one.
Thank you.
Yes, this one.
Thank
This
you.
one, I wanted to say that, look, we have made the weeding, but also we have built the soil around the plant. You can see that we started to build the soil from the left side, from the right side. Then the plant is in the middle, and there is about 10 centimeter or 15 centimeter to the right, 15 centimeter to the left of the plant. Then it means that the plant is on top of the ridge right now, and 10 to 15 centimeter right, 10 to 15 centimeter left, and the height of the ridge now is like 25 to 30 centimeter. This will be done periodically. Every time, if you are irrigating with center pivots like what were doing, meaning the soil will be rooted again. Then you need to rebuild again after each irrigation the line, the ridges. But if you are irrigating with drip irrigation, which is the best one, then it will be the work will be little here. But all what you need to guarantee that at least 10 to 15 centimeter by the left side and right side of the plant, and the height of the ridge is about 30 centimeter or 50. Then in this case you will have more production. Next. Next slide. Yes, you can see now the area that we were planting. This is potatoes. This was our potatoes. Next. You can see how large the area. It was 12 hectares, 10 to 12 hectares. Next. What I want you to look at the ridges, how it is built. The irrigation system was center pivots. Next. You see how is the growth of the potatoes, and every time the plant grow, every time we build the soil around the stem. Why we do this? You remember that slide with the plant of the potatoes, the white stem, because we want to maximize the height of the white stem. Why? Because all the roots, all the tubers that will come, it will come from that white stem. Next. Then now we started to harvest. You can see the mondial production. Next. Next slide. Yes. Look at the size of the potatoes. This is mondial. Very high production you can get. Next. Next one. No, the previous one, please. The previous one, you see the, yeah, no, the previous. I just wanted to show that tubers, which is 30 centimeter. The previous one. Can you get me the previous one? Yes, this one to the left side, you see? You see that tuber to the left side? Yeah, okay, next. You see in the next slide, to the left side, you will see the machine that we were harvesting with, the digger, the potato digger. The next, you see in the next the number of bags that we are harvesting. And of course, like I mentioned in the beginning, when we plant, all of us, including me, of course, when we plant, we need to guarantee that We are planting and we are contracting, meaning whatever I will plant from the potatoes, it will be sold, because us as a small or medium or large scale farmers, we do not have the facilities of cold stores and so on. So when we plant potatoes, I said potatoes is a treasure, is a very good cash crop, but the risk here is you should, or I advise, you should contract. Why? Because at least to guarantee that your production, immediately you produce, you harvest, then your production will be delivered to the buyer. So that, because if you will not have the facilities of cold stores, meaning you are under the risk to damage your potatoes and to lose the production. But for this concern or this matter, I advise that we go for the contract farms. Contract farms means we guarantee the market before we start. Before we start planting, we guarantee the market. You see how we produce, how was the production. Of course, the buyer send the trucks and everything and this package, so that we back here and we send him. If you remember those videos that I have sent you in the beginning on the group, and I said that this is one part of the presentation. Those videos, one is with the tractor while we are preparing the land and the ridges, and the three others were for the handling after harvesting the potatoes until it is packed. And this packing house that you have seen in the videos, it is in Lusaka. It is in Lusaka. Then the final package, which is written proudly Zambian, if you read the package. So this was our potatoes, yes, but it is done here in Lusaka because we have contracted. We have contracted with a Flubiter, I think, that one, which I think also we may invite him to speak about the models or the packages that he is offering for the contract farms, so that each one of us will guarantee that whatever he will plant, he will receive the guidance, he will receive the advices, he will receive the good seeds, and also at the end, he will guarantee that he will buy his product immediately he harvests. The next slide and the last one are the points that we went through. It is marked in red, but there are others which we didn't go through, which is fertilization, the irrigation, the insecticides, the fungicides, the agricultural practices that like removing the flowers, and those other new techniques that can make you produce or multiply your production. Like I said, those new techniques for planting, preparing the land from the beginning, and 2 lines, 3 lines, using the machines. And also the visibility study, I have showed the visibility study, the simple visibility study for 1 hectare. And I have showed the minimum income, which is almost $2,000 minimum net profit. The trick that is in that table in the beginning is that there are 40,000 kwacha has been set for the drip irrigation system if you didn't have. And it is a fixed, this one is a fixed cost, meaning it will remain for years. And the last point is the contracted farms that we will, after we discuss now, after we finish the presentation and we come to the questions and answers, and we can discuss how we can organize ourselves, and we agree with these investors, for example, to make a contract farms so that we can start to plant without fearing of any risk or loss. And we learn together, we share the knowledge together. And I think this is what I wanted to tell you today, stressing that God has given us here in Zambia a lot of opportunities, a lot of resources for free. And he is asking us, like I was mentioning in the beginning, just to dig the soil and to get the money every 3 or 100 days to get your profit. Thank you so much. And I will be happy to answer any questions from anyone of the group. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor. I will put back the first slide that you had the breakdown on, because I think most people might have questions on your first slide. But then I will then read in the group any questions that we have. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat and I will be able to take your questions. However, if you can't use the chat, if you send a message through the potato group, we are all able to read the messages in the potato group. For now, the first question I have, and I have muted everybody, but I will give the ability to unmute yourselves, which I have just done. And if anybody wanted to ask a question directly without typing it in, please just raise your hand and or wait until the end when I offer that. So the first question that we have today, will this be recorded? Yes, we're recording it, so you'll be able to access it afterwards. If you look at the chat, I've put in the YouTube link, which I will also share in the potato group. That YouTube link, you can rewind and forward as you wish, and you'll be able to watch it, so that's not a problem. The next question was, someone said they were not able to see the slides. Please feel free to look at the slides on the YouTube. But Professor, are you okay for me to share your slides with everybody?
No, no problem. Sharing, when you share the knowledge remain.
Thank you, Professor. And then we have a question from Kani, and it says, how much is center pivot for 1 hectare? Is center pivot better than drip irrigation?
Well,
Professor.
this is a good question, but if you have 1 hectare, you don't go for a center pivot because center pivot is much more costly than the drip irrigation system. I advise you to go for the drip irrigation system if you have 1 hectare up to 5-10 hectares, or you know, because the center pivots usually start from 40 hectares, 50 hectares, 70 hectares. This is for the center pivot, and it is cost. It is costly too much. Drip irrigation system is the best one, especially it will reduce the time and the effort that you will be need to do for building the soil around the plant. Because if you start with drip irrigation system, then you will build your ridges from the beginning and it will remain as it is. So you don't have to make much more efforts to weed and build because it needs like 4 times to build the soil. As a plant to grow, you need to build the soil. But for drip irrigation system, you will not do that much because there will not be soil erosion.
Thank you, Professor. So in terms of the same question with the center pivot, if somebody is planning to expand and has the facility to buy the center pivot, are you able to guide on a price for the center pivot?
The price approximately it goes for $125,000.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, but this is a pivot for 50 hectares.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
So the next question that I have here is, when do we remove the flowers? And this is from Everdeen. Thank you.
Yes. You know, every plant, the physiology of every plant is to produce seeds for him to remain, to make the generations remaining. So for us, because our main target is the tubers, so we don't want the plant to consume the carbohydrates that is stored in the tubers to produce flowers, which is not needed. We don't need flowers. We don't need these small seeds because it's not significant for us. What is important for us is the tubers and the carbohydrates that is storage that has been storage in these tubers. So when we leave the plant to give the flower, meaning it is consuming from the tubers, then the size of the tubers will be less, and make the number also of the tubers will be less. So the best practice now is whenever you see flowers, you remove these flowers. Okay?
Thank you. Yes,
You-
Professor. Did he answer your question? If you do have follow-up questions, please feel free to put them again in the chat. And then the next question is from Musanje. How many times do you need to remove the flowers?
Well, whenever you see any flowers, you go into your plants and they just remove it by hand, by your fingers. It's very easy to be removed. It's not that big deal.
Okay.
Like I said, the reason behind is we don't want to lose any way of the tubers.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Professor. This is an interesting question from Namchana. She says, wonderful presentation, Professor. Great tips. And then she says, are there any shares for buying in Mondial Farm?
Come again. The question is?
She wants to know if you're selling any shares in your farm.
No. Well,
that way you're doing
well,
all the work, right?
just let me explain for you that Zambia
Okay.
Egypt Joint Farm is a government project between the government of Egypt and the government of Zambia. Egypt has made this project here in Zambia and in different 19 African countries just to help our brothers and sisters in those countries by transferring the knowledge and sharing the knowledge, let me say it like that, and of course building the capacity, give training for the students and the people here in Zambia, for example. So it is a government, it's not mine. I am here and I'm only the project manager, and Egypt is the one who is paying my salary even. So it's like that. For sharing, this is a good point that you have mentioned, my dear sister, because out of this group, I'm telling you, if from yesterday up to now we have 180 or more plus person interested in the production of this cash crop. I call it the treasure. I call it the money. So why we don't come all together and we make a contract farms, and we have two options: either to make the contract farms individual or all together to get one or two farms and to focus on the production. There are many ways that you can maximize your profit as a group together, but still, if you need to make to work individual, you can make it individual. If you want to make it as a group, those who are in the potato group right now, they can make it also. For us, we will facilitate the work for you. We will supervise also. We will share the knowledge between us. Whoever has an information or he noticed something, he can share with us, and then we are all learning together. And maybe that investor that I was talking about him, the one in the who has this plant for the which shown in the video, we can ask him also to give us some speech or to talk to us in the group also. We see what he is offering. Maybe we can get something. Also, we have those chemical companies that they can help us also in these chemicals, either fungicide or pesticides or insecticides or whatever, with reasonable prices for the group. Also, those for the irrigation, I don't know, most of us are in the avocado group, isn't it? So I think that if you remember that last time with help of Ms. Linda, of course, I have made the presentation for the irrigation system, and I have advised also that there is this very high quality irrigation system that can guarantee can remain for at least 5 years. I'm saying 5 years, not 5 seasons. And very high quality and very competitive prices that is less than the prices in the market. Not the Chinese one, not the whatever other type of products, but we will guide each other to get the maximum quality and the minimum cost also for us to maximize the profitability for us. So this is a good point that you have mentioned, and working as a group can be done if we are willing to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. I'm going to ask Ms. Adoni Mwanza to ask their question and to unmute themselves before I go on to the next one. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Professor, for such an informative presentation. I've really learned a lot. My question is very basic. I just wanted to find out, do you have the seeds and how much is it going? We really are geared. I've already started preparing the land and I just want to plant. Thank you.
I like that.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome. So for the seeds, like I said in that table that is in the presentation, for 2 tons of seeds of Mondial, it costs like 30,000 kwacha. Then the question is gonna to come, how many tons you will need, my brother? It depends on, of course, I don't know if you would plant 1 hectare or 2 or 3 or what. Hello, brother?
Hello? Yeah, thank
yes,
you so much.
How many
okay,
hectare?
for now,
how
because
many hectare?
I'm trying to learn. Right now, I've just got 1 hectare. So I'm thinking of just planting the 1 hectare. Yes.
Yes, 1 hectare means you will need 2 tons of seeds, which will cost you 30,000. Okay. 30,000.
No, that's all right.
We can ask because I'm already imported from South Africa now, and they have told me in the morning that the seeds have arrived because I'm gonna to plant into 2 weeks. And by the way, for all the groups or all the participants in this group, maybe after 2-3 weeks maximum, we can arrange also together a technical field visit to us here to see on the ground how we plant, how we prepare the ridges and everything. Now, and also if we will need, some of us will need on the group now, will need to buy seeds, the Mondial one, or whatever other variety, but we need to agree for one variety. Then we can ask this also to import it for us, because he can import 1 container and then we share the seeds between us.
Thank you, Professor. I appreciate that. Mr. Mwanza, was that okay?
It was okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
Much appreciated.
No problem, sir. So we've got another question from Sharon. Okay, Sharon was asking about the varieties. I've been able to share the slide with her. And then there's a question from Austin. Is it advisable to plant potatoes in the rainy season? The answer is no. How does the yield compare to the crop planted during other times of the year?
Yes, okay, it's a good question, and I'm telling him, I'm telling you the answer from my suffering, because I have planted, my brother, I have planted during the rain season. I have planted in each month. I have planted. So during the rainfed season, also you may have noticed that the price in the market is 150 per ponche per 10 kg, isn't it? 150 kwacha per 10 kg, and of course on the retails and the ShopRite and the others. But my brother, my potatoes was rotted, my potatoes was infected, my potatoes, the quality of my potatoes was very bad, was not good. So I have learned the lesson. That's why I put one slide this line, the end of March, April, May, June, July. You stop planting. You can plant in every month, as I have mentioned. Or if you, for example, let me simplify for you. If you have 1 hectare, you divide your 1 hectare into 4 lima, okay? Then you plant this lima in this month, March. You plant the other lima in April. You plant the other lima in May. You plant the other lima in June, okay? Then you go in a rotation because, but remember and keep in your mind, you have divided into 4. You will plant the first lima. Then after harvesting the first lima, you cannot plant potatoes again, at least 1 or 2 seasons. So you plant any other crop, like whatever, soybean in the rain season, maize, whatever, any type of crop you prefer. Then you go into crop rotation. Like I said, there are many points that we didn't touch, and there are tips that we didn't touch yet. There are new techniques that we didn't touch yet. There are the fertilization program that we didn't touch yet. The irrigation program that we didn't touch yet. That's why I said this presentation is part 1. Okay?
Thank you, Professor. I
I
appreciate
hope that
that.
I have answered you.
Yes, that answered the question. Thank you. Then there is a question from, okay, somebody hadn't put the name on. It says, where can we get good quality drip irrigation? But I think you've mentioned that, Professor.
Yeah, there is Reniglu. There is Reniglu that I have mentioned in the last presentation, the avocado. This is the one that can guarantee minimum 5 years, and the price will be the least price in the market.
Thank you, Professor.
You're
And
welcome.
then there's a message from Mangala. Is there technical support for the first-time farmers?
Come again?
Is there technical support for first-time
Yes.
farmers?
Yeah, the technical support, he means, you know, us, we as a group now, we can give you any technical group, any technical assistance you will need, any guidance.
Thank
If
you
we
so
will
much.
make this contract farms, then with this investor, for example, Fulubiter or Fulubi, I don't know how to pronounce the name, but we will ask him to. But this, we can agree on the package. Then he can also we can supervise and give the technical advices and the guidance from step 1 until harvesting.
Okay.
In fact, there is a program in details, like I said, when we go for part 2 or part 3, you will find out that starting from 10 to 15 days after germination, or after sowing the seeds, we will go when the plant is 25 days, when the plant is 35 days, when the plant is 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 85, 95. Each date, we will tell you what to do in this date
Oh, I see. Thank you.
and
So
what are the materials.
So a schedule, you'll be able to share a schedule of how
Exactly.
to. Okay.
Schedule and the follow up with this schedule so that we guarantee that you will get the maximum production and the high quality.
Thank you so much, Professor. I've got 5 more questions, so I'm going to go through them rather quickly. So the next one is it advisable? Oh, hang on. My land is rocky. What chances do I have to getting a good yield?
If it is all rocky, I cannot advise you to plant the potatoes over there. But it's rocky. If it is rocky. But if it is, it has pieces sandy, pieces other type of soil, then you can, because the potato is a tubers, and this grow underground. And when you produce underground, you need to make the seed bed. You need the tubers needs to have a light soil, like I was mentioning, the sandy soil are the best, so that the tubers can grow and it cannot have these strange shapes, you know, these corners and blah blah blah. This issue can reduce the quality of your potatoes. So it's advisable to have a sandy soil. But for you, my friend, if you don't have any other land rather than this rocky, there is another technique that I can advise you, but not now because the time, because of
Yes.
the time, so that you can produce in other technique.
Okay. So someone has just asked a question that I was going to ask. If importing the seed together, when will the seed arrive in Zambia? When can we expect? Yes, sorry, go ahead.
Usually it takes 2 weeks or to 20 days, I think.
Oh, that's not too bad. Okay, thank you so
Yeah.
much, sir. And then someone asked about profit per hectare, but I've put the slide up so you'll be able to see that. But the question is, are you saying in 1 year of start, or the start year, is 7,000 kwacha on each hectare?
No, 7,000 kwacha in each hectare, not in 1 year, but in 1 season. Number one, it's not year, because the season of potatoes is 90 to, for this mondial is 100 days. Okay, so each 100 days you will get not 7,000 kwacha. You will get 7,000 kwacha if you will invest in the drip irrigation 40,000, but you will get 47 if you have your irrigation already. Then you will get 47 net profit, 47 kwacha, which is $2,000 almost. But if you don't have your irrigation system, meaning you need to invest in your irrigation system 40,000 in the first season. After that, the drip irrigation will remain for you for 5 years, which can be how many seasons? Like 10 seasons, for example. So that you because it's a fixed capital now. You will not spend the 40,000 every season, no, because you have already spent 1 season. So after 5 years, then when you can renew your irrigation system.
Okay. Chris made a comment here. He said year 1 will obviously be expensive because of the capital outlay, especially the irrigation. But what will the figures look like in year 2?
In year 2, it will be not in year 2 again, in season 2. In season 2 will be 47,000 kwacha net profit.
And there are 3 seasons in a year?
In 3 seasons.
I mean, how many times in 1 year you've put down for 3 months for planting?
Yeah, 100 days.
100 days.
100.
Okay.
The season is 100 days.
Thank
So
you.
each 100 days, if you, like I said, if you have 4 hectares, for example, then you plant 1 hectare this season. Okay, you will get in the first, if you don't have irrigation system, and you will set the cost of the irrigation system now, meaning you will get 7,000 kwacha. The second season, you will get 47. The third season you will get 47, and the fourth season will get 47. But again, this is the minimum net profit that you can get. I'm talking now about the minimum, because I have mentioned here that you are producing 12 ton per hectare only, while I said that people can produce up to 30, 40, 50, 60 ton per hectare.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay.
Then there are 2 questions. The one is, how much water does a potato need? And the other one is, how much is the simple machine for land preparation? Thank you.
Well, for the irrigation, like I said, we didn't touch yet, but if for the irrigation and the water, it needs it. If you are using the drip irrigation, then in the beginning, you will based or depend on your soil type, of course, and the area where are you located, and if your soil is well drained soil or no, then it is advisable for the well drained soil and the light soil to irrigate with the drip irrigation every day until the day number when it will become 85 days from planting. Okay, when the plant is 85 days, that's when you will stop irrigating until you for 10 days or 7 days to 10 days in order to start the harvesting. This is for the drip irrigation. For the center pivots, you will irrigate every like 3-4 days. You will irrigate, and again, it depends on your soil type. It depends on the drainage of your soil. If your soil is light soil, then you will have to irrigate every 3 days. If your soil can keep the water, then you can irrigate with the center pivots every 1 week, for example, 60 days or 7 days. This is the factors that you have to consider with the irrigation.
Okay, and the second question was, how much is the simple machine for land preparation?
Well, simple machine, it cost me how much? Let me remember, because I was okay for the land for making the ridges. It cost me like 21,000, but I made it on my hand. I made the design. I bought the needed parts, spare parts, and then I went to the workshop and I asked them to make this and this for me until I got my machine.
So you can sell us the machine?
Oh, we can do this, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
If anybody else has any questions, please raise your hand or let me know of your by taking yourself off microphone to ask your question. We'll take one more last question before we close. Yes, go ahead, Everdeen.
It's really a follow-up on the importing of the seed together. When can we do this? When will it be? When will we start if we are doing it this year?
Well, this will be also, we'll need the help of our sister Linda, so that
Okay.
in this form you can ask that you can add this question for
Yes,
those
Professor.
who are interested to have seeds, mondial seeds, for example. Let's say mondial because we need to import one variety
Yes.
altogether. So and how many hectares they wanted to plant, or how many tons, because like I mentioned, the 2 tons per hectares. So how many tons they will need. Once we get one container, we contacted this investor. I will invite him to our group also, so that he can import for us.
Thank you so much, Professor.
Yeah, what I have done for the importation, I've paid the 50% in advance, and the other 50% I pay him after I receive the seeds.
Okay, I've got 2 more questions, one from Kani, one from Chris. So if you could go ahead, and Kani.
Yeah, thank you very much. I know the creation of this group for potatoes arose from one of the members of the avocado groups talking about how they had put potatoes in between the avocados. So my question is, since we are being encouraged to grow the avocados organically as much as possible, would the chemicals or herbicides used for the potatoes in between the avocados affect the avocados?
Good question.
Well, this is a good question. If we are planting avocado trees or any type of fruit trees, I am also in the avocado group or cooperative. So we need to do what's so called intercropping. And in this intercropping, one of the cash crop that is advisable is the potatoes. What I wanted to give your attention, my sister, is the intercropping between the fruit trees will be in the first 3 to 4 years only. Then after that, you cannot plant the potatoes in this between the trees, because the tree by that time will be the size of the tree will be big. So you cannot plant intercropping at that time. In that period of time, in the beginning, what are you doing with the soil management or the fertilizer program or whatever won't affect the production of the avocado, because in the first 2-3 years there is no production unless it is little production, isn't it? Huh?
Yes,
My sister?
Professor. Yes.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, intercropping between the avocado trees or any type of fruit trees in the first 3 years is only a source for fund that can give us money to spend on the avocado or other type of fruit trees. In terms of the chemicals and polluting the soil and so on, because you are not going to plant these potatoes, like I was mentioning, when you plant potatoes in this part of the soil this season, you cannot plant the potatoes again in the same part of the soil for two seasons, 1 or 2 seasons at least. So meaning it will be very minimum. However, my sister, there are alternatives for all the chemicals that you may need to use in the potato if you want to produce your potato organically. There are also available alternatives between practice chemicals, not chemicals, but natural extractions and natural materials that you can use as insecticide and as fungicide for the potato production. If you wanted to produce organically also the potato, in this case, I don't think that you will be worried about any pollution or any pollutants for your contamination for your avocado trees. I hope that I've answered you.
Yes, you have
Yes,
answered. Oh,
thank you.
thank you so much. Yes, the last question, please go ahead, Chris. You need to unmute yourself.
Sure.
There you
More of a comment than a question. I obviously played a part in getting this blog together. Two things out of this meeting. If we are ever to have a chance of working together, then I ask that you all come back to us when we do the census and the registration, because we must be able to gauge how many of us who are really interested in this project, what kind of hectareage we're talking about, and what kind of seed requirement. So now, if we really want to work together, that information is critical. Without that information, it will be very difficult for us to work together. The chances of us putting together a cooperative like the avocado have is also there, but it also depends on the response that we get to the census that we do. It's the only way, and it's the only thing that can give us a chance to work together. So I just implore everyone to please, when we do send out that request, that you give us that information. It will help us make decisions quicker. Thank you.
It's true, my brother. It's true. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And based on your questions, as the professor has said, we'll amend the form and I'll send it out over the potato group. Professor, did you have anything that you want to finish off with? Thank you so much for the presentation. I appreciate all your time, but would you like to finalize?
Thank you so much, Ms. Linda. I really thank everyone who has shown the interest to attend and to participate today. Thanks so much. And I hope that you have got some information from those